Namaste.
Hi. So all good? Audibility, visibility, all set?
Looks like everything's perfect.
Okay, so let's go on. So without wasting much time, people, welcome to the 28th episode of Beautiful Minds, a live chat show with unsung heroines around the world with me, Kirti. And today I have with me a lady. Her face might be familiar for most of the Malayalis, I would say. And I wouldn't be specific by saying Malayalis, but her face is so familiar in the media because she is an anchor or right now, I would say that she is not only an anchor, she is an entrepreneur, she is a yoga therapist, a performing artist, an educator. You say it and it's done. That's what Shama Shashidharan is. So, welcome to my show, Shama Jeji.
Thank you so much, Kirti. It's a pleasure.
Great. So let's moving on, Shamjiji. The moment when I talk about you or when I see you, what reminds me is my first day in college, where I still remember when our seniors were in the class. You were one person who entered the class a bit late to rag us, but though you didn't do anything, that is what the impression I had about you. And your face was so familiar in the media, so I was so much excited to see a media person there. Maybe a girl who has just completed her 12th standard and joined in a college like St. Teresa's, for her, person from entertainment is like, wow. So that is how I come to know about you. And later on, we though met, no, in a very casual way, in some or the other way. We didn't have much conversations in detail. But when I thought about this particular show, Beautiful Minds, you were always there in my list. And that's how I contacted you. And to the audience, I want to let you know that she is right now in Australia. So that's the reason why there is a change in our show timing at 7, because right now it's like 5:30 there. What is the time there?
5:30.
5:30. So if we go ahead by 7 at night Indian time, it might be late night there. So that's the reason why we have there. So on to you, Shamsti. Let's hear something from you. What is going on? A person from Kerala is right now in Australia, and what is happening in your life?
Well, surprised because I got married and I had to move into Australia. So before that, I didn't have Australia on my cards, and then getting married, I had to move in here. I had done my masters in dance, and the only way I could continue doing my dance was to see if I could do something on my own and start something on my own so that I can continue my passion. And that's how I started my school here. So I just finished my school, and there we are today.
All right. Shamini, in the post, I have mentioned that a girl who was not so no comfortable being in front of an audience or always on the stage, she loved to be a person behind it. But I believe that it would be a surprise for a lot of people who know you that, oh my God, is Shama like that? Because once you're on the stage, it's like fire. So can you just share that experience of yours from the childhood, how you were, and what is the transformation that has come into your life?
Well, you're right. Actually, people who know me from my school days would totally understand and totally get what you just said, because they've seen me. They've literally seen me as the person who was actually scared to go on stage to even open my mouth. I wouldn't be able to even say a pledge, a normal English pledge. It was something beyond my capacity because I was so nervous. But the only thing I used to enjoy doing on stage was dancing. And even when it came to dancing, it used to be a group dance. I wouldn't think about venturing out on my own. I have a Gulf upbringing as well, and I came down to India during my high school. And coming down to India was a revelation of sorts, because I used to think I was an amazing dancer back in the Gulf, and then these amazing dancers before me, and I realized, oh my God, there's so much more to explore in life. And that's how I ended up viewing everything around me in India. And that's the time when I used to love performing. But however, in India, especially in Kerala, there was a concept: unless you are one of those Kala Tilgam, Kala Pratibhas, nobody identifies you with the dance segment, or unless you are doing solos as a youngster, nobody identifies or thinks about you as, oh, this girl has a passion for dance, or she's gonna follow that career path. Nobody thought about it that way, but here I am.
Mhm. All right. What reminds me is when during a conversation you said that there was an uncle who took you to the stage for the first time, and you just went for an exhibition, and all of a sudden you were being asked to do some the hosting, and that is how the stepping stone towards being an anchor or a host of a show started in your life. Can you just quickly share that as well with us?
Sure. In fact, yes, it was a family friend of ours, someone in our neighborhood who was a part of the organizing committee for one of the photography exhibitions in Kerala. It happened at Town Hall. And he casually asked my mother if he can take my sister along. And unfortunately, Chechi had other commitments. So I know Mama said, okay, if I don't think she can come, but if you want to take Shama, she's just sitting at home. So if you want to take her, you can take her. This is probably during my 12th and everything. And I went. I didn't know what I was up for. He asked me to wear a Kerala sari, and I was like very excited. Oh, sari! Okay, so I go there, and then because it was a photography exhibition, or it was an exhibition for media-related products, and surprising enough, there were many people from the industry who was attending the exhibition. Who sort of identified me and suggested that I try this, I do that. And from there, I got this opportunity to host on television. So until then, I had a setup where we didn't even have cable TV at home. All I was exposed to was Doordarshan. I was never, I never knew there was a profession and an alternate profession that you could choose where, one could go into anchoring or TV. So it wasn't on my agenda at all, and nor did I follow anyone or understand what kind of style you have to present yourself with. So I was presented with this opportunity, and I had to go all on my own. I had no idea how I'm going to do it, but I just had to do a fun-oriented show where I had to, get people to call me in and do a game show. It went from there, but to my, I think to my advantage, every show that I have done on TV had, one way or the other been a progression. So I started off with this fun game show, which was a chat show. And then, from there I moved into interviews with celebrities. Then I handled something for an external producer on a satellite television, which was again to do with architecture and homes. And then eventually I moved into grooming contestants of a reality show. And that's when reality show was just catching up, and it was the newest trend. And that's when, they saw me grooming, and I didn't go there to, host the show. But after I groomed the contestants, after the first few rounds of grooming, they suggested that, I take up this role of the television host as well. And then I did it.
And the one word which struck me when during a conversation was you didn't know anything about this industry, but it may be the innocence of yours which made you move forward without any fear at all. Because right now the people out there, those who are in this industry, would definitely have some set of examples or to take care of or to look into, but in your time it was just very blank. Can you just share that as well, the innocence of yours which helped you to move forward?
Absolutely. So yes, sometimes you do a lot of things out of ignorance and innocence. So sometimes innocence, in quotes, ignorance can be bliss. So, my exposure to television was very less. So I didn't have a preconceived notion as to how an anchor should look or how a television host should be speaking. I just went there and did what I felt like, and then eventually, the only thing I could compare myself with was me. And every time I did a show, I would think for myself and think, okay, is this what I want to do? Is this what I want to deliver? Is this the message that I want to put across to my audience? And each time I had the opportunity to think about what I need to present to my audience. What would make sense content-wise. And we lived in a time when, Kerala used to be still conservative. So I was very particular about what I want to, show to the world out there, because in a conservative society, not that I wanted a tag of being conservative, the good girl tag or sorts, but then I felt that, there are a lot of children, a lot of people who get inspired by, television hosts. And every time you come up like that, whatever you do, your mannerisms, the way you speak, everything actually makes a huge impact on innocent youngsters out there. And the message I wanted to put across was pretty clear. So yeah, I think I've been kind and nice.
All right. And one more thing, what you were just letting me know that during that time when I was doing all these events or being a host there, I didn't realize, or I wasn't much fond about being with the celebrities or any other part. But right now, when you turn back, you find, oh my God, have I gone through this much of journey in my life where I have done a lot of things.
Yeah, it's actually it's a beautiful thing to think back on, to ponder on. So what has happened was you moved to a country where not many people are exposed to having met television stars or TVs or celebrities of sorts. And here
Mm-hmm.
they talk about, hey, I met this personality, that personality, so much excitement, and I'm like, hey, I had lunch with this person and we had a great conversation. We spent an evening together, and I do not have any proof for it all, nor do I feel like talking about it. It happened in during those times, and I just let it be. For some reason, it was never something too exciting for me, like meeting a star or doing something on stage was never something too exciting for me, because what I felt was it's a part of my job. Okay, and I do get exposed to meeting a lot of stars and personalities. So what my true responsibility is, how do I handle that stage, how do I ensure that everything goes well. So that's the only thing that, and of course, there is a lot of excitement when you go on stage, especially from the girl who used to jitter so much while saying the pledge in school, to the person who gets truly excited and uncontrollably excited when I see an ocean of audience in front of me when I do a film award night or sorts. So it was a huge transformation. But I tell you, we all have a shell within us, and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we are so fearful and mindful of not looking outside, not looking beyond. Your show is all about beyond the limits. So I think we should mention this about about all of us. Comfort zone, stepping out of your comfort zone is something that we all hate to do. We are also hesitant to do, but there is a beautiful world out there, and there is a potential that is unlimited when you actually step out of that comfort zone and look beyond.
And we have a real example in front of us who is just out of the comfort zone, and then she didn't have to turn back at all. All right. Moving on, Shamjiji. Yes. Sorry, I didn't get that.
I say that I was fortunate. I think I was at the right place at the right time.
All right. Let's moving on from the performing and no, from being no in the media or as a media person. You have another things being added along with your profile, which is a yoga therapist. Now, how did that come into the yoga therapist part?
Well, see, there are certain things that I love doing, and when I love doing those things, I always wanted to learn more about them. So yoga
Mm-hmm.
and dance are things that I've been doing since my childhood. Yoga perhaps
Mm-hmm.
with so much awareness, but see, most of us who share an Indian culture, who have an Indian background, we all do yoga in have elements of yoga, whether it is probably not the 8 elements of yoga, the whole 8 limbs of yoga, one or the other, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of what we practice on our daily do's and don'ts. All of this, there are
Mm-hmm.
elements that we practice. So at the end of the day, what we have to look is, you know, how do you actually make sense of it all, and how do you actually, try to gain more knowledge on it. So I
Mm-hmm.
up learning, taking a teacher's training course in yoga just because I wanted to know, everything in order. Like I did practice asanas and parts of bits and parts of meditation, and it used to inspire me. And wherever I had gone for yoga and classes, it has always inspired me, and I've always wanted to be maybe a teacher sometime. And see, teachers have always inspired us, and if you are able to impart the knowledge that you have, it's wonderful. And that's when I thought I should take up yoga. Taking up yoga, I
Mm-hmm.
realized that there is so much more to it, that I could learn a little bit more. So I went and asked my mentor back in the university about what more can I do than just being a yoga teacher. So he said, you can go in for a yoga therapist, postgraduate diploma in yoga therapy, which was really interesting. And so I did that after I moved into Australia. I was working here
Mm-hmm.
an Ayurvedic clinic, and I felt that
Mhm.
essential that while being a yoga teacher, if I could impart a little more knowledge, sound knowledge on the subject that I have, it would be an added advantage, and it would always be beneficial for my students and patients as well. So that's how I ended up doing yoga therapy.
So I think in every single step of your journey, you are just adding on new things into your profile, which you really wanted to explore from the beginning, but maybe the right time has come up, and right now you're just landing into every single profile of yours.
Well, I wouldn't say it's adding new things because see, I've always done yoga. Like from the time I remember, there's some aspect of yoga or the other that I've always practiced. That we have all actually practiced without realizing that it's
Mhm.
yoga. We're not talking about asanas over here, but we're talking about other elements that we understand as living or lifestyle being yogic. Okay, so there are elements like that. So at the end of the day, I've been doing dance like that. I remember, people complaining to my parents that, this girl's not actually riding her cycle properly. She's actually doing mudras on the day as she's riding back from school. And I've had many complain about it to my parents. So, see, all that meant that these were the things that I really cared about. So even when it came to dance, like I probably didn't have a dance career like the rest of my friends. Most of
Mhm.
them had an opportunity to learn dance at an uninterrupted pace. While in my case,
Mhm.
I've never had the opportunity to learn dance uninterruptedly. So I was, like I told you, I was raised in the Middle East until my high school, then came down to India, and then I had to restart from the beginning.
Mhm.
And I decided, I chose to do that myself because I had a lot to unlearn and learn as I moved from one place to the other. And
Mhm.
I didn't feel like I had to actually skip a couple of steps or jump into the dance batch rather than going and doing the fundamentals right again. For me, each time I had to restart, I did that with a lot of passion. And I decided that yes, maybe I should restart for a good reason. And I'm so glad and so thankful that I did choose that path, because having done that, I feel that I've actually done a strong fundamental or strong base to whatever I wanted to do.
In between this, when you said that there were people around you telling your parents that this girl is doing a lot of mudras, something which reminds me here is that your parents wanted you to follow with your studies, and finally you told them, Namna, that's the end of everything. I need to now go ahead and take up this thing which I've been passionate about, and that's how you moved to Chennai for your higher studies or your research into dance. Would you please share that as well?
Yes, so I wouldn't really say that my parents were against my wishes. It's just that
Mm-hmm.
at that stage, at that juncture, most parents are concerned about the indecisive or unplanned ideas that these children have. Like, so for me, I didn't really have an idea about what I want to do in life.
Mm-hmm.
So being a dancer was never on my cards. I just wanted to be happy. Of course I love dance, but then dance as a career was not something I thought about. Of course I'd love to perform. I wanted to become a performer at some time, but never seriously thought of being a dancer as such. So it was hard for my parents to say, okay, you can go and pursue a degree in dance. And considering that we all come from that conventional setup where you think a basic education is essential before you plunge into something else, and for that reason they convinced me to take up a degree. I initially wanted to do hotel management, which my parents were not so excited about. So they were like, hey, hang in there. Could you choose something else, something different? Um, and see, there was nothing wrong about hotel management. I'll tell you, I'll come back to it once I finish this bit. So that's when I ended up taking communicative English in St. Teresa's College, and that's how we
Mm-hmm.
had met. So even while pursuing communicating English, I remember coming to college was when someone would give me a call and say, hey, Shama, there's dance competition happening. I'm like, oh, cool, okay, I'm coming to college today. So English was just a reason for me to get into college and do some dance practice. So that was about it, And even learning there, I was too actively involved in dance, and I used to practice. I used to go to I wanted to specialize in a particular form, and I started specializing under Dr. Padma Menon, not Dr. Padma Menon from, now she's settled in Canberra. So see, I got an opportunity to understand the form that I practice now in detail. So I had a
Mm-hmm.
stint with Kuchipudi for 3 years, and then I knew that this is what I want to pursue. This is what I want to focus on. And from there, I had to actually keep searching and look for an opportunity where I could do a full-time thing. So by then I had finished my undergrads, and it was a time when not everyone wants to do a full-time dance option. Was not something that was open in Kerala, unless RLB, which didn't offer a Kuchipudi degree. So I was again confused. So if I had to just learn dance, my parents wouldn't be convinced. So I had to tell them that, okay, I'm going to do a PG in dance. And that was something that I truly wanted to do as well, because when one takes up a post-graduation, you learn more about the art form theoretically. And I used to be someone who used to love doing my theory, and when everyone was focused on only the dance practice and the stage element, I used to be asking teachers about, why is this Lakshanam like that? Why do you hold this mudra like that? What's the explanation behind it? I loved, learning those Sanskrit verses. So that added up to, me taking up my PG in dance and went from there. But after talking about the hotel management thing that I wanted to do, I ensured that I got back to it. So immediately after I got this opportunity to work at Taj, and it was like the opportunity of my life. It was nothing amazing, but to me as a youngster, I've always loved and believed the Tata model, and having to say that I started my career off with Tata Company was something that I always held a lot of pride in, and for that reason I worked for a very little while. It would be insane if I had to tell you I worked for 4 months before I got with bank, which was again an international bank, and then I realized that numbers were not my game, so I had to keep jumping. But then, see, by then I had realized that, okay, art is going to be my focus, and this is where I want to end up. Teaching, perhaps I didn't know that I'm going to teach or I'm going to start something like this, but I knew for sure that this is the line I wanted to follow.
That is what we were discussing also, Shyamji, that the moment you realize that this is not your cup of tea, you decided that I am now straight away going to focus on something which I'm really passionate about since my childhood. But I was a bit confused. Should I go ahead and do it? But then it feels really happy that you have landed into your own passion and you're doing something which you really love to do for a long time, and which makes you always happy when you do that.
Indeed.
Right.
The good thing about practicing what you love the most is that you don't really feel like you're working, and that makes you feel good. Like, there's no pressure. And at the end of the day, you do it with a lot of love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Moving on, another thing also which I have mentioned, media person. People might be wondering that it's only the being the host or in the media when you were in Kerala, but right now what you have also shared with me is that something that you're associated in Australia as well. Would you mind to just share that as well with us?
Oh, absolutely. So media was something that I thought I said goodbye to when I moved into Australia, because there weren't much ventures out here that I could venture into. That's when one of my friends suggested that we start a television channel, because there is a void, a space for something like that over here, a very own Indian community television channel perhaps. So this person knew that I had a bit of television exposure. So yeah, maybe I could add a little bit of knowledge to that. So that's all we had in mind. I was actually literally dragged into it because I'm not a person with entrepreneurial skills. I refrain from doing such tasks. I'd rather do my teaching and my dance passionately than get into the nitty-gritties of business. But I was pulled into this, and I'm very happy and proud to say that now we have a television channel called M4 TV running to support South Asian community in Australia. So we are focusing on the South Asian community and providing opportunities for youngsters, like once upon youngsters like me who actually managed to turn 360-degree round by the exposure that I got on television as well as on stage. I know what
I'm
self-confidence. So I feel that, these kind of exposures, especially for, children raised here, it is essential that they understand elements of their culture. But see, now that we are in a different land, we're not in India anymore. There are elements, wonderful and beautiful elements that you can imbibe from your culture. But what we need to know is that we live in a global society. So you'd be wondering why I have a television channel when there are multiple channels available in India and so many amazing shows that are running over there. See, at the end of the day, only someone raised here uh, the content produced locally. So in the for local content, brings a lot of good, good talent back to India. And this is what we wanted to do as we started. And yes, we are actually doing that, trying to get youngsters involved, do things that, people haven't seen from down under, produce content that is exclusively produced in Australia. So it feels really good to do like that.
So should I make an announcement that people out there in Australia, those who are youngsters, you do have opportunities, which it is related to media?
I think they already know that now.
That's great. Shamji, usually we used to get a few questions from the audience. I don't entertain it much, but I had one interesting question. A friend of mine wanted to know that while you were focusing on your profession so well, how did that help you with your life as well? Like being focused on your profession, how did that make a change in your life?
Being focused on my profession, how did it make an impact in my life? Well,
Yes.
I don't really understand what's the question in there, but see, when you're focused on something in your life, I think you become a lot more conscious about everything else around your life, and I think everything
Mm-hmm.
you do has to be done with consciousness. And for me, I am an early riser, and I am happy to wake up early in the morning and start my day early in the morning. It makes me feel like I've conquered the day. I've got my day planned and listed. So yes, and by doing that, I think I have a lot of time in my hand to actually shuffle and do things around.
I'm sure that the reason why my friend has asked this question is she too was from the media profession, but then she took a break from her career just to spend more time with her family and kids. So maybe that is the reason why she wanted to know that. In short, how did you manage this both the profession and your life together, and how does that make a change in your life? Maybe that is the reason why she wanted to know about the same.
Okay, so media industry can be very different. So it depends on which segment of the media industry that you work in. Based on which we understand that the time, balancing time and personal life is difficult. I have a little baba. She's turning 3 this month. But otherwise, I have a supportive family, and we've been very lucky that our parents, whether it's my husband's or my set of parents, they've always been here with us in Australia, and for that reason,
Mm-hmm.
I've always had, the freedom to actually leave my daughter with them and come home to home cooked meals by our. So I think that way I've been a little spoiled as well because I've always had support. And see, nothing happens without family support. I am
That's
going
right.
out on my own from next month onwards when my family is going back, my parents are going back. But I'm pretty confident that we can handle it. See, it isn't that, see, when we say that we don't have time, I think we're not managing time well. We all have the time with us. It's just
Mm-hmm.
about how efficiently we can manage that time that we have.
So I believe my friend has got the right answer for what she was asking. Moving on, Shamsiji, what are the future plans? What are the upcoming plans? You are running your dance school, and what are the plans for the upcoming new year?
Well, in Victoria, we're just enjoying our newfound freedom, which is, the end of our lockdown, say in about 9 months. So we've all been home.
Okay,
I've been doing
that's
all
right.
classes, something that I never believed in, never thought I will ever do. But yes, see, life has different plans, and when situations happen, we find a way to swirl around things and learn to actually adapt to the new changes. I think we have all done that quite well, including you, Kirti. You're doing a fantastic job. Let me tell you, it isn't easy for us to complain, sigh, and say, I don't know, COVID's, eaten up 2020. Or you'd say, okay, let's explore what we can do over here. So for me,
Right.
teaching was essential. And, for me, giving a break as long as 9 months, we couldn't predict at what time we could get back. It could have been just 1 month, 2 months. So we had no idea how long this break could be for. But one thing I was committed to was, when you're teaching, you are committed to those children. You have a responsibility towards each child that you're addressing. And giving such a long break from dance, specifically, something, a lot of, specific regime about how it doesn't work that way. So I had to, shift on to online modules. The most challenging part was handling my littlest students, who would be probably 4 and 5. Getting their attention to come online and maintain that attention was not easy. But we did manage to do an online concert, like how we do our annual concert every year. We did manage an online concert, and I was overwhelmed by the response that the students and parents equally shared. So it was a lot of task because they had to do their videography, they had to get dressed on their own. Otherwise, for an annual concert, there's always support and help. This was different, but they all handled that so well. And it's so heartwarming that you have a huge support system working with you. So see, when I'm having a school, it doesn't mean that it's Shama's school. Okay, what makes Shama school is each person who is enrolled there, each person who feels that belonging in that school, and that is what makes it all special. I think what we do, if we believe that it's just you get stuck because you don't have all that energy. But if you believe that everything around you is working with you, in sync with you, then I think it's pretty easy, and it becomes that way. I think Preeti is making a comment.
Right. I was just reading the message. I was about to tell you the same thing, that your students and the people those are associated with you are really happy, and they feel proud that they are associated with you, which makes us also feel happy. A lady from Kerala, all the way from Kerala, she has just reached there and made her own brand there. So it feels really proud about that, Shama Chechi. But I'm sure that the audience out here, those who would be watching right now, those who might be watching it later on, they might definitely have one question. Shama Shashidharan from Kerala, from Tripunthara, why still in English? So for at least for our Malayali audience, I would really request you to say some or few words in Malayalam. So
നമ്മൾ പോകാന്ന് തീരുമാനിച്ചത് എന്താന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, ഇവിടുത്തെ ഒരു മൾട്ടി കൾച്ചറൽ സൊസൈറ്റിയിൽ ചിലപ്പോ നമുക്കത് വേണ്ടി വരികയാണെങ്കിൽ ഇതൊരു അതായത് എനിക്ക് ലാംഗ്വേജ് ഒരു ബാരിയർ ആയിട്ട് ഒരിക്കലും വരരുതെന്നൊരു ആഗ്രഹമുണ്ട്. ഞാൻ അഡ്രസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന കുട്ടികൾ മലയാളി കുട്ടികൾ മാത്രമല്ല, മലയാളി അല്ലാത്ത കുട്ടികളും ഉണ്ട്. ഇത് കാണണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇനി നമ്മൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ സംസാരിച്ചത് കൊണ്ട് ആരും കാണാണ്ടിരിക്കണ്ട എന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചിട്ടും കൂടിയാണ് നമ്മളിന്ന് ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ സംസാരിക്കാൻ തീരുമാനിച്ചത്, അല്ലേ?
റൈറ്റ്, അതെ, അത് മാത്രമുള്ളൂ. അപ്പൊ ഓഡിയൻസ് ആണെങ്കിലും ഈ ഒരൊറ്റൊരു കാര്യം കൊണ്ട് മാത്രമാണ് നമ്മൾ ഇന്നത്തെ കോൺവെർസേഷൻ ഫുൾ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ആക്കിയത്. പക്ഷേ എനിക്കറിയാം, എന്നെ പോലെ തന്നെ പലർക്കും ഉള്ളൊരു ഇതായിരുന്നു, ഒന്ന് ഒരു വാക്ക് മലയാളത്തിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ഇത്തിരി സന്തോഷമാവും. മലയാളികളല്ലേ, നമുക്കത് എന്തായാലും ഉണ്ടാവുമല്ലോ. സോ അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഞാൻ all good, Shama Chechi. It was really nice having you in my show. But as I always ask my guests, those who come in the show, and before they leave, what is the message from your side? Maybe a message. Oro conversation, there were a lot of things that you were conveying, though you didn't realize it's a message, but it was indirectly a lot of things which you were passing on. But ultimately, what is one thing that you would share with all the audience there from your part?
And Ayyo Narayana Kirti, you're putting me in trouble right now. Karyam, see, I'm nobody to give up. Okay. You thinking, you considering me as somebody who is, who can be inspirational itself is a huge honor for me. Okay. We are, and in a way, I believe you all have something or the other to contribute. Okay. Inspiration needn't be something that you get from someone who has achieved a lot. It can be from the most simplest things. It can be just waking up in the morning and looking out of your window to see a little bird up there. Okay, and that could be inspiring. It could be your amma waking up every day and doing something, and not expecting anything. That could be an inspiration. It could be just a motivational word from your partner. Anything can be inspiration. Okay. So when you feel that you're not motivated, or when you feel that you're not inspired enough, you just have to look around you. And the, the tiniest things would be conveying their messages. And I think you can gain your inspiration, get your inspiration, derive your inspiration from even the most littlest things that go unnoticed. Value each moment in life, alle. We have learned that.
Right.
uh, there are so many things that we had prioritized, and this year has, told us that none of those priorities are the real priorities in life. What is your true priority?
Right.
We have all stuck to what our true priorities are. We have tried some way or the other to ensure that thing gets done, right? So that's
Yeah,
how.
that's
uh, there are certain that it is essential that there are certain moments in life that it shakes you up and says, hey, listen, what are your priorities? And it helps us to understand what we're living for.
Adipoli, super. So, Shama Chechi, once again, thank you so much for spending time with us here. I know it's late night, it's time for you to drive back home with your little one, but still, thank you so much for being a part of the sharing your journey with us. Ultimate point is that, as you said, it's not like you coming and talking about big things, but if a word of yours can get an inspiration for any women out there or any people around us, that is inspiration rather than just listening to big things from others. So it was great having you. Wish you all the very best for the things which you are doing right now, and on behalf of all my audience and beautiful minds, I wish you a very happy new year ahead. Let's rock and keep on branding being a Malayali there in Australia.
Thank you so much, Kirti. It was lovely talking to you. I'm proud of what you're doing. I know you are
Thank
trying
you.
to be inspired from the show, and probably that's why you didn't mention my ragging episode. I truly wanted to rag you and everyone else in that class, but then I didn't have the courage to do that. Also, you see how. But you know what? All these little challenges, what makes life special. Okay, I was ragged by my seniors,
Seriously,
and I
yes.
still love them, and I'm in touch with them all. So it's all a part of growing up. And
That's true.
it's not just in college that you get ragged. You get ragged even beyond college. Okay, you just have to identify that
Yes.
and stand where you want to.
Thank you so much, Shamjit. It was really nice. I would say it was a nice afternoon for me to go ahead because always I used to say good night to everyone and then think about the episode and feel happy when I sleep. But right now, I think you have just pumped up my energy for the entire day and night to just think about this episode and feel very happy about it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, with that note, audience out there, thank you for joining in this late afternoon. I would say it's time for you to have lunch, but still, thank you so much for supporting us. And as I always say every time, that next weekend you will have again another interesting guest with me with her own story. So, till then, just keep smiling and stay safe at home. So, until and unless it is a quick bye from both of us. Bye bye. Thank you so much, Shamajiji.
Bye bye.